I hope by now you figured that I'm filming all of these on the same day. Otherwise somebody's going to be saying, man, he takes an awful long time to paint a gate, doesn't he? But you're welcome once again to Take 5, our 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. And we're still talking about the gates in the walls of the city of Jerusalem, and how in Nehemiah chapter 3 he got the people to rebuild those gates. And yesterday we were talking about the Dung Gate and we were talking about the Valley Gate. Well, today we're going to talk about two more gates, and that's the Fish Gate and the Sheep Gate. Now, as their names might suggest, they had specific purposes. The Fish Gate was the gate through which it was in the north part of the city wall facing up to Galilee, and that was where the fish came from. The fish for Jerusalem came from the Sea of Galilee. You're not going to catch any fish in Jerusalem, it's up on a mountain. And so they brought the fish from Galilee. And as they brought the fish in, they brought it through the Fish Gate. And actually this would have been the gate that Jesus, on so many of his visits to Jerusalem, he would have entered by the Fish Gate, because he came with Peter and James and John and the other fishermen and the Galileans, and they came in through the Fish Gate. So the Fish Gate was a gate that would have been so well known to Jesus. But then there was another gate, and it was called the Sheep Gate. And the Sheep Gate was the closest gate to the temple, and so it was the gate through which they brought the lambs and the sheep for the temple sacrifices. And so these animals that were destined to die in the sacrifices at the temple, they would come in through the Sheep Gate. And actually we believe that Jesus may well have gone out to his crucifixion carrying his cross through the Sheep Gate. Now you've got to understand, if you've ever been to Jerusalem, sometimes there's some dispute over where the historical sites are. And they have, for example, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is where a lot of people go to celebrate the resurrection from the dead. I have to say I hated it. I went to that place and it was lots of monks chanting and clouds of stinking incense in the air. And really I hated the place. It did nothing for me whatsoever, and I thought, man, I hope this wasn't really where it happened. But then the next day we went out to the Garden Tomb. And the Garden Tomb is an area where there is a tomb in these gardens, and it's got the stone that rolls over the entrance and everything else. And a lot of people believe that that is the tomb where Jesus was laid. And if you actually go just round the corner from that Garden Tomb, there's a rock shaped like a skull. It's called Gordon's Calvary, because it was discovered by General Gordon, who thought this looks like a place that would be called the place of the skull, Golgotha. It's got like caves that look like the eye sockets in a skull, and it's just around the corner from the Garden Tomb. And so a lot of Christians believe that that's where Jesus was crucified, that he was crucified up on that rock, that hill that looks like a skull, Golgotha, the place of a skull, and then he was taken and laid in Joseph of Arimathea's tomb just close by. Would make a lot of sense, and certainly, I'm not enough of a historian to actually say whether it is the right place or not, but I have to say I felt the sense of Jesus so much more there than I did with all the crass commercialism and tradition and ritualism in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. But what I want to say is this, that if that was the gate, then that would mean that Jesus entered into Jerusalem with the disciples so often through the Fish Gate, as they were the fishers of men. But when on his final time before his crucifixion, carrying his cross, he walked out through the Sheep Gate, the gate earmarked for sacrifices, as he led his way outside the city walls to die as the perfect sacrifice for the sins of the world. Either way, the Fish Gate and the Sheep Gate were two more of the gates of Jerusalem that we read about in Nehemiah chapter 3. Anyway, join us again tomorrow for another Take 5. Your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.